I just want to welcome everyone. I'm Larry Barlett. I'm director of the Mid-America Transportation Center. It's the Region 7 University Transportation Center sponsored by USDOT. We do research, we do outreach, we do educational activities. This is one of our outreach and educational activities. We've been doing this scholars program for about 8 years with different groups. Our goal is really to provide information for students to make decisions about their future careers. In this case, students at 2-year tribal colleges considering going to 4-year institutions. So we're happy to have all of you here. It's a really impactful program. I don't want to take a lot of time today. I do want to point out that we have all of our information. I'll introduce Chris Cornelius as well as our outreach coordinator and diversity coordinator. Our names and our addresses and our phone numbers and our emails are there, and we really do welcome anyone to reach out to us if you have any questions about anything with the program or anything related to universities. That's why we're here, is to help everyone get information and hopefully answer some of your questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Moises. Chris, did you want to say anything before we started?
It's hard to follow up with that, Larry. That was a great introduction of what this is about. And of course, as Larry had said, you know, all of us are very interested in your, not only your well-being, but your success and your future. And that's part of the reason why we're sharing today.
Thanks, Chris. I'm going to turn it over to Moises. Moises, you want to take, you and your team want to take it away and just and again, thank you for being here. I know it takes a lot of time to do these things, and we really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. So yes, a pleasure to be here. My name is Moises Padilla, and I'm the director of the Nebraska College Preparatory Academy. But one of my most favorite positions on campus is to be advisor for Unite, which is the Native American Student Association on campus. And I've been doing this, I think for I can't remember, Mikey, you might need to remind me. But I've been doing this for a few years, and it's such an honor for me just to be among such talented scholars here at the university and watching them go through their highs and their lows, but persevering and just being outstanding human beings. So a few of our Unite members, I know Daylin, for example, she's in a lab and she's like, well, if I can get out of lab early, I'll join. But so as some of you might know, the University of Nebraska, we're still having in-person classes. And so for labs, some students do have to go in to do that. And our semester's a little bit shorter, but I'm just happy we have Mikey here. So I'll give him a chance to introduce himself. And so we'll kind of do like a little, I'll kind of do like a little coffee talk with you, Mikey. Maybe like, let's just pretend nobody else is here, and I'll just pick your brain and people can kind of take your advice. And then if questions come up, we can entertain those as well. But do you want to tell a little bit about who you are and where you're from, what you're studying, all the good jazz?
Yeah, sure. I do recognize a few of the students that are on with us, so that's great. Well, so those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Sandy Scott. My nickname is Mikey, and Sandy or Mikey, it doesn't matter, whatever. But I'm actually a senior in the business college at UNL. I am working towards a business management degree. I actually started at UNL back in spring of 2017 as a full-time student, and I did a full year at UNL. And I had like a family emergency that I had to, you know, not really quit school, but go part-time and move back home and kind of deal with the issues that was going on at home. But I continued to go to school and going through the distance learning. And at one point, I was commuting from Winnebago to Lincoln for two or three classes and working with my job and making that happen. But I'm an enrolled member of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska, and I got my associate's degree from Little Priest Tribal College. And yeah, that's kind of who I am
So Mikey, are you the oldest, the youngest? Tell us more. Like, share a little bit more about.
Okay. Well, I'm a first generation student. My parents, they did go to NICC and Little Priest Tribal College, but they only got their associates. So in a way, I'm still first generation student. But I have 8 brothers and 1 sister, and out of all my siblings, I'm the one going to college right now, and I got 2 older brothers, and the rest are younger than me, and yeah.
And why did you think going to a 4-year degree after UNL was a good idea for you after you got your associates at Little Priest?
Well, it was kind of it was a little bit of a reality check in a way. So at the time I was working at Little Priest Tribal College, and I've been, working in the higher education area for the past 5 years, and I never thought, education would be a passion of mine, but, just working in higher education, that's kind of something I want to pursue. But at the time, I only had my associate's degree at Little Priest Tribal College, and, I didn't really have the credentials, the 4-year or any, degree to kind of push forward into my positions and any growth. And so, that kind of it motivated me to go to school. And, I looked into UNL, and I researched their business program and kind of seeing how it was and what the classes were like, and just kind of the perks of even being, a Husker. And, it really sold me. So like I said, in 2017 spring, I decided to move down and try it out and get a taste for it. And, it is, it is a little overwhelming coming from a 2-year school like Little Priest. Little Priest, they're really great about focusing on one-on-one relationships and building you up to take that step to a 4-year institution. But with Little Priest, it's a little smaller than a university, and at Little Priest, you're surrounded by more Native Americans, and can kind of collect on a cultural level and things like that. But going to UNL and not having that kind of relationship or a lot of that predominant white college, it just kind of was a little starstruck or a little intimidating a little bit, because one, you're going into a new location that's huge, lots of classrooms, lots of buildings, and just trying to get accustomed to that, understand where that's at. It was a little overwhelming, and it kind of was scary. But as soon as I got there, got a routine down, knew where everything was at, knew who to speak to, where Unite was and things like that. When I got down, I didn't even know Unite really existed until I bumped into another student, Sky Morgan. She's actually, a community member of Winnebago too. And, she reached out to me, and I was like, hey, you should get involved with Unite. And, it's a Native American group at UNL, and I think you should, get involved. And so that's kind of what I did. And I got to know some more people, and there was actually more community members from Winnebago that was on Unite. And, it created like a sense of family there. And, I felt comfortable there, and it was located in the Jackie Gahn building. And, just kind of got to know other organizations and got involved with them and got to know more people. And, I really feel confident to say that if it wasn't for Unite, I don't think I would still be at UNL. And Unite is really, it really established my foundation and grounding there. And it was a lot of support and motivation. Amanda was our advisor at first, and then Moy took it on, and that transition was pretty smooth for him. He picked up where Amanda left off, and ever since then it was just kind of a really good experience and good support and motivation there.
I like how you talk about when you transitioned to UNL, and at first it was, I don't know I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's kind of like culture shock, right? When you're like, oh yeah, it's a little bit different here. It's not it's larger. But I remember when I went to college, I felt that same way too. So I could resonate with that when you're like, holy moly. And not only classes are a little bit challenging, but it was also the environment was different. I don't know if I don't know if what was the hardest part? Was it academics? Was it like the whole campus? Was it money? Was it
Well,
love?
you all of those really, but the academics, kind of transitioning from having a little bit one-on-one help to more of an independency. That was a little bit transition to me, but as I said before, as soon as I got the routine down and know what support and tools that was available to me as a student and as a first generation student and TRIO and all those definitely helped me, be successful and things like that. It's just, it takes time. And, something that I kept telling myself is, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And, you're much as capable of being here, you belong here. And those were things I had to tell myself, because like I said, there was just that cultural disconnect. But like I said, as long as you've got those resources and that routine down, the work is the same from Little Priest to there. It's just a little bit more a little bit more structured and things like that, and a little bit more in depth in that way. But so the academics, it was a little bit transition, but like I said, I got a routine down and got it done. But the big thing about it too was the campus there. It's kind of overwhelming because the campus is huge, but when you use the resources on the website, you can type in your room number, or your classroom number, where it's at. It shows you the directions, what building it's at, and it actually has live routes of buses that drive from one campus to the East Campus and things like that. So just getting familiar with those tools and things helped me as well.
Awesome. What would you say are like if you had to put like your top three, so the top three resources, somebody that wants to come to UNL, right? And like the top three resources that they should definitely connect with once they get to UNL.
Well, first, not to be biased or boast, but Unite, like, you have to get involved with Unite. It's that I feel like that's the connection that you will kind of have to home. I mean, there's going to be a different variety of different tribes there represented there, so there'll be different kind of customs and cultural norms and things like that. But just getting to know each other and build off each other and build those relationships, that's what's gonna help you along the way, and that's gonna help you build those relationships with other students as well. Because like I said, I know how timid people can be going into a new area, new location. You're scared. You don't want to ask those questions. You don't want to seem, ask dumb questions and feel like you're dumb, when really there's no such thing as a dumb question. But you have that kind of connection there with Unite from home. It's not completely what you're used to, but it's a piece of it. And that's kind of what I push for you guys to get involved with. And even if, Unite isn't something you truly want to do, we can always, connect you with other student organizations that might be more tailored to your interests and likings and things like that. Or if you're not for sure or familiar with the campus, or you need that tour, more personal tour, that that's available there, just to walk around and kind of show you those types of things, hopefully soon when the pandemic calms down. But for sure, get involved with Unite. But also another resource where Unite's located is in the Jackie Gahn building, and that's kind of like the multicultural building. And there's different organizations there. There's a Latino group there, an African American group there. There's just so many variety of different groups there, and they kind of build off each other. And when early time in 2017, we were really trying to collaborate with the other groups so we can work together on different events and things like that. And when you're doing that, you meet other people, and I've made some friends that I thought I would never make, and still talk to them to this day. And it's just that collaborating and meeting each other and things like that. That is another resource, is the Jackie Gahn, and getting accustomed to their staff and things like that, and their events, because they have some events too. There were times that we would be studying in the Unite room sometimes, and they would have snack every evening, and we'd run downstairs and get some snack. And just that small little brief snack session, that is like a lot. It was really great just to kind of relieve some stress, eat some snacks, and conversate with other people, and then there you go, right back to work and things like that. So those two for sure. And then my third one that really helped me was the library, like understanding where the computers were, what libraries had what, how to operate the you can connect your phone or your computer to the laptops or the screens into the library, and you can have a private study session in room or something like that. We utilize that all the time. And so the library is really really good component, even if you just need a quiet place to study. They have a Dunkin' Donuts there, which is, you know, helpful at times. So I would say for me, those are the top three things that I, you know, prioritize to help me be successful at UNL.
They've done a really nice job with the library. So when I was undergrad, it was all just stacks of books. Where the Dunkin' Donuts is, it was just stacks of books. And I mean, it was really a good place if you wanted to like hide from people, you know, like study, but not anymore. Now it's very open and very, very fancy. I don't know if that's how you felt too, but when I came to college,
it's really
I was like,
modernized.
man, this is like a really pretty school. Like, I can't believe I'm using these like really nice, fancy study rooms with like, they have markers there ready to use and all this stuff already.
It was, yeah, it's great. A lot of tools and things like that. And they even had, you know, if you didn't have your own laptop, you could rent out a laptop. You could even take a laptop home for a couple of days and return it. And, you know, they have those resources for you to be successful. So I just, you know, encourage, if you do decide to go to UNL, to look into those resources or ask questions, because they are there for you to be successful.
Mikey, so you talked about Sky and how she got you connected with Unite. And I know that's kind of how members join Unite, and or people hear about different resources on campus. A lot of it is word of mouth, right? So it's like, you know, type of thing. So say somebody were to come and they don't have a Sky, or they don't have, they feel like they're the only one type of thing. Like, is there anything that you think, any ideas of like what they could do to kind of get connected?
If nobody has a Sky, and I hope you guys have a Sky, that, you know, one, if you're a little bit outgoing and you feel comfortable, you know, I would just approach the Jackie Gahn building and ask questions there and ask the staff there, and I'm sure they would point you to the right person and get you, you know, where you need to. They're really helpful staff there. They're understanding. So, you know, don't feel hesitant to reach out to them. But, you know, if you're a little bit more hesitant and not really open to that one-on-one physical contact, I would, you know, reach out to, you know, Moi's a good person. Even ask the, you know, admissions or recruiter people there and say, hey, you know, I'm trying to get connected with somebody. Who do you contact me? Email them, or, you know, contact TRIO, the Student Support Services. Ask, you know, questions and say, hey, you know, I'm trying to get more involved. Is, you know, there are more Native American groups, or what kind of groups they are. Those people are there to help you. It just takes that little bit more energy and effort to reach out to them and ask those types of questions. And excuse me, as like I said, there's no such thing as a dumb question. You know, especially for us Native Americans, this is something completely new for us. And, you know, some of us are first generation students, so it's not our fault that we don't know what questions to ask or where to go and things like this. This is a whole new environment to us. So, you know, you're going to have to ask those questions. You're going to have to put yourselves out there too. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, you know, for a while there, I questioned if I belonged at UNL or if I was capable. And, you know, I would kind of go into more depth. You know, when I was in high school, I never seen myself going past a 2-year degree. And I thought I was just going to end at Little Priest Tribal College. And, you know, I always thought UNL, it was not for me. I would never go to university. I'm not that smart. I'm not going to be able to get a degree from there. But, you know, I just took that chance and tried it. And, you know, I felt it. And, you know, I to myself, I just asked myself, why did I think like that? Why did I feel like I was not capable? But, you know, we are capable. And if you want it, you can do it. There's nothing else to it. There's just going to be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more obstacles for you. But if you use your resources right, get to the right people, you're going to be successful, and they're going to help you do the most they can to push you to be academically successful and get a degree.
Yeah, I would say the students that I've seen that done really well are brave to go and ask somebody when they need some help. So it's about being vulnerable a little bit, right? Which is comfortable, but once you do it once, it does feel a little bit better next time you need a little support. I don't know, we can pause here. I have more questions. I can talk to Mikey nonstop, but I don't know if people have questions or any questions from the group.
So if we had more Dunkin' Donuts, could we have more students here?
We also have the Starbucks in the
Yeah, see, I was just-
union. You know, there's competition now.
There's Chick-fil-A too. Like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm.
Well, see, those are more reasons why you can get together and chat and have a good cup of coffee now.
I have a question for you, Mackie. What
Yeah.
scholarships did you all apply for when you were transferring to UNL?
See, that was a little challenging for me. I was a little misinformed about some scholarships, but there's some opportunities for you. The scholarship that I was trying to take advantage of was the tribal college scholarship, and that's where if you graduate from, a tribal college, and then you would have kind of basically a full ride for the next 2 years. But there was some, like I said, misinformation for me, but they did find me some grant funding and some other scholarships that I'd qualify in-house for UNL. But I did a little bit of research on my own to find what kind of scholarships were out there for me. So, the American Indian College Fund, there's one for tribal colleges and there's one for non-tribal colleges. So that still, applies for us as well. But it just kind of takes a little bit self-discipline to look for those things. And they're out there. You'd be surprised on how many scholarship opportunities are out there. But also to be sure to work with your financial aid office and to let them know that you're a first-gen student and those different types of things, because then they'll find some grant funding for you. But ultimately, I did have to take a few loans out for some semesters, but that also comes back to when I did that first semester I came, my GPA kind of dropped because I didn't do too well the first semester because it was just kind of getting used to it as well. But Moy actually just shared another scholarship opportunity that's always presented to UNI. It's the Chief Standing Bear Scholarship. So that's always there too. It kind of gets competitive, but that's just another opportunity. But those things are there, but it's just like I said, with the Native American Scholarship, it kind of takes a little bit of yourself to look into those things.
Right, thank you. That's what I was really curious about, is if you took advantage of the tribal scholarship.
No, like I said, yeah, there's just kind of misinformation, and we're actually working on trying to get that more, a little bit more adjusted for more students to take advantage of. But it's a conversation still happening. But yeah.
The one thing that the university did, so the university system got a new president, and he created, it's called Nebraska Promise. And essentially what that is any family, it depends on like your family size, but typically it's like any family who makes $60,000 or less, your tuition and fees essentially are covered. And so that really makes it a little bit more accessible for students who want to, want to go to college and not, pay for tuition. Now you still have to figure out ways to pay for housing, which can also be really expensive. But what I often see a barrier and for those of you listening, is that it's just about figuring out when the deadlines are and then applying for the FAFSA. So oftentimes people don't, so the FAFSA is the application for student aid. And so if you fill that out late, essentially the way it works at the university is like, imagine there's this big bucket of money, and as students fill out the FAFSA, the university starts awarding that money. So the longer you wait, the fewer amounts of resources there are. And so if you fill it out before April, so say you want to go to UNL next August, if you fill it out before April 1, you're going to get as much money as you would get, right? Like that's because it's early enough that you're going to get all the support. But if you fill it out in June or July of next summer, for that August. By that time, the university gave a lot of that money away. So yes, scholarships are, I always encourage scholarships and Unite. We have a private Facebook page, and I know sometimes students will share scholarship opportunities there with each other. Dalen is the one who got the Standing Bear this year. In the past, Angelica, who's a former Unite president, got it. So there's been other Unite members who've earned that scholarship, and it is competitive. You're right, Mikey, because it's a nice scholarship too.
I guess another thing I'd like to touch on too is the job opportunities on campus as well. So when I got on campus, my first thing was just getting adjusted. But after that first semester, I was thinking, this is expensive, and trying to figure out different options. And that's another, benefit of reaching out too. If you get to know the right people and your underrepresented group, there's opportunities for you. And I was able to get a job at the NET building working with the Vision Maker Media organization, and it's like the Native American films organization. They work with Native American filmmakers, writers, and things like that, and fund their programs. And I got to be a part of that. Got to edit some films. Got to go to some trainings in the summer, and got to visit other reservations and film projects. And that was a really good opportunity for me. And they don't only just take business students; they take a variety of different students there too. So that's an opportunity there. And I know my friend Weetha Aldridge, when she was there, she was actually asked to be a part of a research grant or something like that dealt with Native Americans, things like that. So she was kept busy with that as well. And I think Sky actually participated in that as well. So there's actually opportunities for jobs there as well. It's just kind of looking for that and asking for that too.
Yeah, you're right. Jobs. If anybody needs a job from this group, when you come to UNL and you can't find one, just send me an email and I got you. Any other questions? Mackie, what does it mean for you to be an indigenous student at Nebraska? It's kind of a deep question, but like.
Well, at first it kind of just started to be, get an education for myself and build myself up, and so I can live a better life for myself and have that security for, a job and things like that. But, after a while, with the support from home and realizing how much needs to be done for Native Americans in all fields, education, healthcare, and everything. And that really switched up my view, as for Native Americans. And it just empowered me more, and it kind of created a responsibility for myself. At UNL, it encouraged me to voice who I am to non-natives and teach them what's actually our history, our culture, and educating them about those things, because there's a lot that they don't know. And so just kind of teaching people that. And like I said, with Unite, there were some events that we'd collaborate with other organizations. And one of the events that kind of happened all the time was an event called Dish It Up. And Dish It Up is when a group would pick a topic, and then people would come to the Jackie Gone, and they would sit there and listen to the topic that we'd cover. And so we covered different topics like the no DAPL, why is that so important? Or what is the reservation like? Because a lot of people think a reservation, it's a slum, it's bad, it's a ghetto, it's horrible. But there's a variety of different reservations and things like that. So just educating them on those different topics, it was really important to me, just so that we can break these different stereotypes and dispel these different myths and things like that. So to me, that's kind of you know, being an indigenous person at UNL, there's only a few of us, but, you know, just having that moment or that time to educate people, that, you know, that goes a lot. It goes far. And that's kind of one of the reasons I like, you know, being at UNL, just to kind of represent represent my tribe and things like that. But kind of going back to what I said too before is, I want to empower and inspire people to go to school, other Native Americans, because like I said, um, our tribes, they need help, you know, and educating our people, building our people up so they can go home and help their people. So that way we're not, you know, being taken advantage of or not taken serious and things like that. And just some of the contacts and some of the people I met at UNL, they're helping me to this day to make advancements for my tribe, and making those connections with the state education level and my tribe here. Kind of going back to my my job right now, I work with the education department for my tribe and managing a grant. And that grant kind of focused on connecting the tribe to the state level and kind of creating that conversation about what kind of funding do we need, what needs to be improved, and things like that. And some of the skills and some of the relationships that I learned at UNL is really helping me to build those relationships and making those things happen. So it's really important just to kind of invest in yourself, and so that way you can, you know, help your tribe and overall Native American people.
You know, one other thing that I've seen Unite members do is advocate for the Native American experience on campus. So there used to be this room, and it was called the Colonial Room, and students didn't want it. They didn't like the name. It just felt weird going into it. And so Unite met with university administration, and there was a lot of hurdles, but they changed the name, right? And so now we have the 7 generations and the 4 Winds room. There's different, you know, I think that's another way where you make the campus feel more inclusive, and you also educate campus about Native American culture. So kudos to all y'all.
Yeah, it was a uphill battle, but we got it done. But another event that, you know, I like that kind of exposes our culture and kind of lets people kind of participate is our annual powwow. And it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of work behind the scenes, but, you know, after that day of that powwow being done, we get together and you feel accomplished, because, you know, when you're there, there's different vendors there, there's dancers and drums and the announcer, and you have to stop and take a look around, and there's actually, you know, people sitting there listening, watching, and coming by to ask questions, taking photos and things like that. And, you know, and it's in the middle of almost the campus. It's in a big area where there's a lot of traffic, so, you know, you can't miss it. And so, you know, a lot of people would go there and kind of educate themselves and sit there and actually indulge our culture. And, you know, that is something that's really it's really touching and empowering as well.
Any questions from the group?
You guys have got one question?
I'll let them think a little bit. What's like your favorite memory from campus? It doesn't even have to be Unite related, or like what's like one thing where you're like, oh man, like that was college. Like 10 years from now, you're gonna think back and
What's up, Mikey?
Oh, what's up, Dustin? That's a good question. I don't know why I have to think on that, because there's some good times, man. A lot of them.
Any all-nighters at the library or anything like that?
Oh, well, yeah, there was plenty of those there, especially with WITA. There were times where we would get together. That's a good thing about the library too. It's 24/7. So you can be there all night long, you know, and that was some of the times where, you know, dead week, when we would get together, we'd be studying, doing homework, and we'd pull all-nighters together. And that was the thing though. We were each other's support. Like, man, when one was breaking down, like you know, I got a flat tire. I can't do this. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna give up. Like, hey, you know, you hang in there. You know, you can do it. You know, if you got here this far, and so just that little motivation and talk that kind of helped. But we would bounce off each other because then, you know, this one would feel that way, then you would feel that way. But it just kind of had that support and motivation to help each other, and that was helpful. But I don't know, Moya. Just like
Well, I have one. I have one that involves you. And we used to do these potlucks, and Mackie makes some mean rice. No, what you make? You make some rice, right?
No, I think it was wasn't it? No, what was it, mac and cheese or no?
Mac and cheese. That's what it was. So we had this potluck at the Multicultural Center, and I usually buy something because I'm like, you don't want my food, anything I cook. But Mackie can cook. Let me just tell you that. Mackie is a chef.
I'm all right, guys, but if you guys want some of that macaroni and cheese, I got you.
All right, any questions about UNL or the student experience?
I'm kind of curious as to how you kind of got your schedule set for yourself. I mean, you have your classes, but working out your, you know, like you said, learning the maps and stuff, but learning like your route, you know, get around campus.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Just like how you worked your schedule out, you know, no figuring out where your classes were, just basically how you navigated yourself across campus.
Okay. Well, when I would select my classes, you know, that was another thing. Like, there's certain times when you can enroll in classes. If you're a senior, you can, you know, get first dibs, basically, junior, freshman, sophomore, things like that. So that was something I always try to push for priority registration. That first day, it'd give you time, you want to hop on, and, you know, I don't like morning classes, so I would try to pick afternoon classes as much as I can. But the thing that I would try to do is try to do at least 2 classes on each day. So I wouldn't want to cram all my classes in one day, because that's a lot of information overload, and a lot of you'll get overwhelmed because it's like, dang, one class after another, and it's just, I can't stop. So what worked for me was, you know, putting 2 classes, or at least 2, you know, a maximum of 3 on one day. That worked for me, and just kind of getting that schedule down, like, okay, I got to get up this time, and, you know, it takes me this long to get there. But, you know, a benefit for me that I had my own car, so that kind of made things a little bit easier getting to campus and to my classes, because I lived off campus. I didn't live in the dorms and things like that, so I couldn't tell you what the dorm life is like. But just getting that familiar where the streets are and what streets are one ways, because there's times where I went the opposite direction on a one way because I didn't know what I was doing. Just getting those down, and knowing where the parking spaces are and things like that. And so just kind of getting those routes down. But also, you know, you have that time frame between each classes and when your next class is, so you can you know, go to workout. They have a great recreational center, a lot of workout machines and a pool and basketball courts and things like that. So I would go and try to weight lift when I can. And then, you know, we'd have our Unite meetings, but then there was other groups that I got involved with too, and I had to, you know, balance my job as well. So there wasn't really much free time for me. So I think that's another thing I would try to encourage, is try to stay busy as you can, but be realistic with yourself. Don't overstretch yourself too. Just kind of balancing those out.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to add to what you said, Mackie, I think there was a former student who said, you know, people talk about how UNL is big, but I only go to 3 buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So my campus is really just those 3 buildings and the rec center. And then if you're worried about a really large class, if you sit at the front, you know, your class is only however many people you see. So there's some strategies there to make it feel a little bit smaller. But campus, all the academic buildings are like on one side. They're all kind of bundled together. I mean, there's some that are engineering is a little bit, it's on the other side, but most of them are kind of located pretty close by.
Yeah, so if you're you know, like they said, they have different colleges, like the business college. There wasn't a time where my business classes weren't at a different building. They're mostly in the same building, but there's just different levels and things like that. And I encourage you guys to check out the new College of Business building. It's so nice. It's really great. And yeah, so like that, like what Moy said, most of my business classes were in one building. But you know, I had to take the ACE courses, so like your math courses and history courses. That those are other courses that a lot of students have to take. So you have to expect those courses are going to be a lot of packed, and they might be in different locations than where you're, you know, if you're in business class or something like that. So keep that in mind too.
So is there like tutoring services and stuff like that that are available for students too?
Well, Moy, do you want to touch on that?
Yes, there are. So for example, if you're taking calculus and you're like, I don't like calc, or I'm struggling with this chapter, there's a math resource center. And essentially all you do is you scan your student ID, and there are tutors there who will, it's their job to tutor, like they get paid to do that. So there's one for math, there's one for physics, computer science. Mikey talked earlier about student support services, so the TRIO office, and they also have tutors there if you want to be paired with somebody one-on-one instead of going to a resource center. There's a writing resource center, I'm thinking of Angelica, right? Like Angelica graduated with a degree in civil engineering. And so she could do like these crazy math problems, but if you ask her to write a paper, she would stress out. And so for her, it was more of like, I need somebody who can help me like figure out how the heck I'm gonna write this 10-page paper. And so there's the writing center. So yeah, there's a lot of resources. Sometimes it feels like there's too many resources to the students because you don't even know where to go. So you just gotta like try it out, see which one it fits more what you're looking for. And they're all free. Like if you're paying for a tutor here, you're not hustling hard. Like you need to, yeah, there's free tutors here.
Yeah, and then with some of your courses too, you want to look in your syllabus, and they might have a TA for that class too, and the teacher's assistant, they'll be able to help you too. And also, you know, when I was taking my economics courses and my accounting courses, they actually have tutor time set aside for those classes. So, you know, take advantage of those as well. So you know, like for courses, they have different resources with them too.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
I also don't know if any of you, I know I have a former student, and so for him, you know, he worked, he went to class, and he had a kid. And so he was also like trying to figure out how to navigate family life. There's offices on campus that can help you with that stuff. So it's not just academics, but it's also like personal stuff. So whether there's like, hey, I need to figure out how the heck I'm going to pay for daycare type of thing, or I have fewer hours at work and I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to buy groceries. We have a food pantry on campus and it's all free to UNL students. Or I have a lot of anxiety because of all the exams and personal stuff going on. We have counselors who again, it's all included. So I think a lot of the times people only think about the academic stuff, but I mean, life is, you know, academics is just one portion of being a student here. And so there's a lot of other things that are available to people outside of just the classroom.
Yeah, just kind of going back to, like I said previously, it just takes that initiative and that push from your inner self to search for those things. You know, there was a time when I was kind of having a tough time at UNL, and I participated in the CAPS program. That's the counseling program, and you know, that really helped me get through that semester too. And so there's just so many resources there to take advantage of. It's just, you know, you wanting to take that step forward and push to find those and take advantage of those. You know, like Moy said, there shouldn't be a resource where you should have to pay for something or anything like that. So it's there. It's just kind of coming back to, you know, how bad do you want it, and, you know, you just pushing through, because, you know, an education, it's gonna help you. And I'm pretty sure, you know, some of you guys probably heard what I was taught growing up was, you know, once you get that education, nobody can take that away from you. And so, you know, keep that in mind too. Once you get that, there's going to be so many resources, so many opportunities opening to you, and you can take back to your tribe and help them with those things. And, you know, I'm a living story of that. The things that I've learned in the business classes, I'm using here in my current job, and it's helping the tribe gain some educational opportunities. And it's just, it's really up to you and how bad you want it. And it's possible though. You can make it happen.
Well, we have about 9 more minutes if people have questions, but you know, Mikey is one of the hardest working persons I know, and it's been cool to just watch you, Mikey, just do your thing. And I know when you told us that you had to go back home because you had to be there for your family. I think to me, at the end of the day, family is the most important thing. And I just admire how you're keeping up with school, right? And you're not quitting, and you keep working. I mean, you're being a family member, you're being a student, you're working, you're, you know, mentoring younger students on campus. I'm a big Mikey fan, y'all, just so you know.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that.
Any final questions? I know Zoom can be tiring for folks, so if you don't have questions, we can end a few minutes early.
You know, if you're hesitant to ask out loud, you can always go into the chat too.
Well, it looks like we don't have anything in the chat, and I think you're right, Moy. In case you haven't figured out, doing these Zoom meetings are really difficult sometimes, but Mackie, I really appreciate you taking the time, and Moy for getting us out there. I'll also say, if there are any questions that you want later on, you have our contact information. So, you know, we talked a lot about UNL today. The scholars programs for everything too. So don't be afraid to ask about going to other universities. There's a lot of knowledge there. Going to other community colleges. There is no bad choices. Really, what we want to do is give you ideas on your options. Mackie gave a great example of what you need to do wherever you go, right? Get involved, be connected, ask questions. It's one of the toughest things you can do. But your professors are there to help you. The TAs are there to help you. You know, there's a lot of resources at every university to help you get through it. You know, and can't stress enough getting involved. I did want to mention another thing is that typically we'd be on campus, so it'd be a lot easier these, right? You didn't want to ask a question after the session, you could go talk. So I encourage you to go talk anyways. And we are committed, after all this craziness is over, to have all of you come and visit the university anyways. So I'm hoping in the spring, when the stuff goes away, that we'll all have everyone on this call on campus, and we actually can meet each other in person. So this is the best we can do right now. I really do appreciate it, Moy and Mackie, for doing this. Everyone have a great weekend and stay safe. Thank you.